Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time. And so, just a disclaimer, sometimes the title of Sat Chat has something to do with something I've randomly said throughout Sat Chat. And every once in a while, somebody new will come in and watch a Sat Chat. It's like, you didn't talk about that until like the blah, blah, blah point. How come you don't put a timestamp? How come this whole video isn't about this one topic? It's because it's Sat Chat. I talk about a bunch of different things. So in case you're new and you clicked on because you saw the title and it was intriguing, and you're like, when is she going to talk about that thing? Who knows? Who knows? This is Sat Chat. This is the community time. We all just hang out and talk about the week, and everyone catches up in the comments. So we'd love to have you here if you're new. But just keep your expectations low. You're not going to learn anything. No, it's not a tutorial. Got plenty of those on my channel though if you want them. Like this one right here. The tutorial for this, the time-lapse is on my channel. I posted it yesterday. And there's a real-time version of this in Critique Club, and the little layout there, this is going to segue perfectly. My new templates are out yesterday. The new Sketchbook Floozy Sketchbook Floozy templates. I should probably start this over, but I'm not going to. This one right here, I'm really proud of. It's the universal template. I posted a little video kind of introducing this week, but basically what it is, it's thick plastic, kind of like a quilting ruler. I'd say it's probably between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch thick, so it's got a little bit of flex to it, but it's really kind of more of a rigid stencil. And it's got slits all through it, going vertical and horizontal, so that you can lay it over your sketchbook page, mark out your page, mark out whatever arrangement of grids and boxes you want, and then you take the stencil off because you'll have like little dashes. You'll need to connect the lines. I mark it out with pencil, then I take a pen, and then I'll use the edges. So if I want a squared off edge, I'll use this corner here. I don't know if that's probably not going to show up because it's so bright in here, it's clear. Or I've got 3 different radiuses of circles, so if you want to round an edge, you can round an edge. If you want to square it off, you can square it off. Like here, I rounded the 4 edges in the corners, but I squared off the other ones. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to be able to lay out your pages so you can get a bunch of sketches on like a 2-page spread or on a single spread. And I like that because often when you're doing a sketchbook page, a big page can be overwhelming, but also maybe you're at a location and you're going to go do some plein air sketches, but you don't want to commit to one space. Like you don't want to commit to doing a big painting of one thing, because what if something better? What if you see something better that you want to paint? So having a bunch of vignettes of like smaller things is nice, or to show progression. Like maybe you want to show something you've grown from like bulb to plant, then after it's gone to seed, and you want to show those progressions or different like blooms on a flower or stages of growth of anything. I love that sort of thing. So I do have some. They're going to re-release my original Sketchbook Floozy stencils sometime this fall, which have layouts already done. You just slap it down, trace it, and you're good to go. But I wanted to have something that was more universal, that you could just make whatever size boxes you want to fit whatever your needs are. So this is $15, right around $15. On Craft Stash, I'll put a link in the video description if you want to check it out. And it's just, I think they're shipping out next week. It might technically still be pre-order right now, but if you want it, I wouldn't wait. The first round of Sketchbook Floozy stencils that we did last spring sold out really quickly. So like within 2 weeks they were all sold out. And then we have these other ones. This one here has a bunch of it's got a grid here that you can line up and do as many times as you want. And that I did a video on making a like a grid journal page where you can kind of test out materials. That was so much fun. I used that stencil for that. I just kind of shifted it and traced it until I got as many cells as would fit on my page. So I mean, you can always alter your stencils to however you want, but that was so much fun to do. And there's a real-time video for that if you want to check it out on my YouTube channel. And then there's other things, there's journaling lines, there's banners, there's like if you want to make buntings, and then you've got some larger rectangles that you can arrange around to make what you want to make. And of course, if you want to do a square, you can trace part of it and then like chop it off. It's versatile. And then we've got the smaller grid, which would be good for doing smaller cells, doing swatches, doing faux postage. I'm actually going to be making some cards this afternoon, and I'm going to use that technique with that. And yeah, I've got so many birthdays this time of year. We've got my daughters are this month, my son is next month, my sister's next month, my nephew is this month, so lots of card opportunities. And I do like to make, even though I have an armoire absolutely full of cards. I still like to make cards for people when their birthday's rolling around. It's fun to kind of, I'm making this card specifically for this person with their interests in mind rather than just making generic cards. So I think I'm going to do that after I'm done filming Sat Chat today. And then we've got this one here with hexagons and squares and some corners. And I did a layout with hexagons where I just kind of did a bunch of different hexagons and did sketches from the Cryptozoology Museum, which is, I just love the way that looked. So so hopefully those will be useful for anyone that needs some help with their sketchbook layouts, but definitely the universal template, I think that's going to be the hit of the launch, and the one I'm the most excited about, because it's just, you can do it all, right? You can do exactly what you've got in your mind, as long as it's like a square or a rectangle, I guess. But I'm going to work with combining it with like a compass and like working around that and seeing what I can come up with that way too. So I think it's even more universal than you know it appears to be. So we probably should have thrown a flat compass in the pack, but well, maybe for the next launch. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? You know, your launches, it always depends on how the last one did, if you get a chance to do another one, I guess. But I don't want to release stuff unless I think it's going to be useful. So yeah, I hope it is. I hope it is. I hope people like that. So that's been what I've been working on this week, getting stuff ready for that launch, and the response has been really good. I'm really happy with it. And obviously don't buy anything that you don't need. Don't buy it just to support me. I don't want you to do that. I want you to buy it if it will add value to your life and add value to your supplies and make your other supplies get used more. And that's what I told the people at Craft Stash. I don't want to just make something to make something. I want to make something that's going to create, that's going to add value to people and get people creating. So yeah, if it will add value to your life, then go for it. And if not, then don't. And if you would like a real-time version of that, it's up in Critique Club right now. I'll have a link to that as well. And Critique Club is $5 a month, and you get tons of lessons. You get a monthly prompt, 2 new tutorials every month, plus access to all the past Critique Club tutorials. And it's fun. It's fun. And you get feedback from me, which is, you know, you may find very valuable if you get stuck at a point in a painting and you're like, I don't know what to do next. Is this done? What do you think? You know, I'm here for you. I got you. I got you. Oh, my table is absolutely covered with stuff right now. I felt like it was clean. It was clean when I finished up work yesterday, but then I got an idea. So last week after Sat Chat, well, was it after Sat Chat? I think it was. I think, yeah, because I had, you know, I was camera ready, or as ready as I get, I guess. And I was working on my review for this, which is this wooden, it's like it's kind of like a sketch easel, I guess I call it a sketch box by Lightwish, and there it is right there. And I was taking it outside on a field test to see how it was going to do on a tripod and whatnot. And very sturdy, very rugged, very impressive, and very demure, very mindful. And I was really happy with the way it worked, and it wasn't flimsy at all. I could even set it on the table and it didn't tip if I wanted to paint on it, which I thought it was going to rock and tip, but it didn't. So very impressed with that. So then I had got another wooden easel in to review this time from Fumui, who they're known for their brushes. And just like taking it out of the box, I was like, oh, this does not seem as nice as the Lightwish one. And then the lid of it was all like flopping around, and things just didn't feel like they fit right. And one of I could see where the screw was in there was like raised, like they didn't line up the screws very well. And I couldn't take the little plastic things out. I was hoping I could take them out and just kind of drop in a few of these just to kind of see how it was going to be using it, because these you can't just drop a regular half pan in here because it's got rounded corners. Same thing with the Lightwish one. You have to kind of fill it up with the ones that it came with. But I would have been able to fit those tiny little pans in here if I could have pulled those out, because they're slightly smaller. But then this part was flopping around, and I'm like, and you'd go to clip something to it, or you go to like paint on it, and it would just flop over. And I was like, oh, what a bummer. What a bummer, because this, I mean, it's inexpensive compared to other wooden easels, but it's not cheap. I mean, I think it's around $45. And I was just expecting, I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be great if that's nice? Because with the holidays rolling around, a gift like this would be something unique and unusual, but also very useful. So I came back downstairs and I was like, I wonder if you could buy torque hinges to replace what's on here. And then I was looking at them like, they kind of look like torque hinges. Why aren't they holding? And then I saw that there's actually a little screw on the end for an Allen wrench. It doesn't come with an Allen wrench, but I went over to my husband's area and I found this set of Allen wrenches, and I found one that fit it, and sure enough, you can tighten these up so it will hold the level you want. And I didn't even tighten it all the way because then it was too hard to move and I was afraid I was going to strip something. But if you bought this, if you were tempted because you saw it for $45 on Amazon, get yourself an Allen wrench. And I did email the company and I said, to be honest, it felt really cheap when I opened it up, but if you added an Allen wrench and added some instructions on how to tighten the tension hinges, then you would have a much better product because it doesn't feel flimsy and cheap with just that little fix. But and I even went back through there was really nothing in it as far as like everything was just kind of thrown in a box. It didn't have any like tissue paper or anything, any instructions or ideas for use or anything. It just had like a sleeve. It had like a sleeve on it, and or actually that was just kind of folded in, and I'm like, you know, that it just, maybe there's more. Did I lose something? I don't think I did. And I was like, if you just put some instructions in there, like if the easel, if the paper holding easel part is not holding its in place, then tighten the hinge or something like that. And include an Allen wrench. You're so cheap. They come in everything. Put a little Allen wrench in there. Because if it wasn't for my husband having all the tools, then I wouldn't have had an Allen wrench that size to use. So, and I think that's probably pretty common that you wouldn't necessarily have all those random sizes. A lot of times we have Allen wrenches that go with our furniture that we buy, you know, the flat pack furniture that you need to put together, but you don't just have like a set of them around. At least I wouldn't necessarily. So, so I did give them that feedback. We'll see if they'll do anything about that. But I think that if you were to buy this for a gift from somebody, I would open it up and I would, you know, there was a sleeve on the outside of the box. Oh, here it is. Does that say anything? No, it just says, Famui, we met because of watercolor. There's always the strangest sayings on products from Chinese companies. I don't know why. It's like, or everything in life is beautiful, or beauty lasts forever, or art beauty. There's always the weirdest like sayings on some of these products. But yeah, there's nothing on there. There's plenty of room to print. Use an Allen wrench to tighten your hinges if the thing appears loose. So what I would do if you were going to buy this for somebody for a gift, I think it would make a nice gift. It's got a couple of brushes. It's got room for 24 watercolors. It's got a cup, a brass cup. It's got a mixing area. I would definitely wrap the things in tissue paper, and I would get, like, look, it comes with a brass cup. Brass isn't cheap. I would wrap all the things in tissue paper, and I would buy a small Allen wrench, and I would wrap that up too, and I would put that all together back in the box and then wrap the box up, and that would really elevate it and make it feel like a much more luxurious gift, much more giftable. And I mean, I can't imagine that would cost that much money for them to do, but for whatever reason they didn't, and that would really make it a nice gift, I think. So I guess I just wanted to put that out there because it's going to be a while before that video, before the Lightbush video comes up. I can't remember when I scheduled it for. I'm getting ready to start filming my next course, so so I've been trying to get ahead on reviews and schedule them out and stuff. So I just want to put that out there because it is very tempting to see things like that on Amazon and maybe think, oh, maybe I'll buy this for a Christmas present, and who knows, there's always different sales coming up leading into fall. So if anybody was considering buying them, I wanted to kind of give a little TDLR synopsis of them, just so, especially if you bought this one for a gift, and then it just stayed in the box till you gave it to somebody, you know, just I think having that little bit of information is going to take it from like a cheap gift to a higher end gift, to a nice gift. And it's just as simple as an Allen wrench. It's like, why? You're going to get so many people are going to return this product when they take it out of the box and they're like, it's floppy, this is cheap, it's no good, if they just put the Allen wrench in there. So maybe they will. Hopefully they will. You'll have to let me know if you buy one of these and if it comes with an Allen wrench. Because that's me, baby. You got me to thank. No. Just kidding. I've got piles everywhere. I went out, my husband and I went to go hiking on Sears Island on is it Saturday or Sunday? Gosh, I don't remember. I think it was Saturday. I think it was Saturday. It felt like Sunday. It was one of those days. It just felt like Sunday. We went out to lunch, and then we did some birthday shopping for the girls, and then we went to hike on Sears Island. And I brought my trusty little fanny pack of supplies thinking that I would sketch. I did not sketch. I figured that like we might get tired at some point and want to sit down and do some sketches, but no, we pretty much hiked the whole time, so I didn't sketch, but I did have that with me. But this is nice because it's not heavy enough that it bothers me to be carrying it. So if I don't end up sketching and I have this, it's not that big of a deal. But that's just sitting there because of that. And let's see. I want to share a couple things with you. I don't know if I've shown you this before, but I think I did share the Nurse's Clipboard when I bought it last spring. And I'm going to be reviewing Olo markers, and I have just enough to fit in here. Actually, the black and the clear one don't fit in here. But I thought this was really nice because I could sit up on the couch. I do most of my Inktober sketches, honestly, on the couch, or like watching TV, because I do them in addition to my regular daily stuff. I'm not 100% sure I'm doing Inktober this year. I probably will. But I need to set an intention for my challenge before I start it. I need to say, okay, I want to get better at X, or I want to work in this. Because I did World Watercolor Month, and I did a painting every day, but I don't feel like I leveled up or improved really anything because I didn't set an intention before I started. It was just like, I'm painting every day, which is fine. It's great. You know, it's enjoyable, but I felt like I didn't really grow that much from there. So I want to make sure that my time doing Inktober is not wasted. But, so I put them all in here, and then I've got this area here to work on top of. So I did this a couple weeks ago. And then ironically, and I'm really liking the Olo markers, I have to say, but I want to work with them a bit more before I do a review on them because they're an expensive marker. And if someone's going to, I mean, you can try a few of these markers. You don't have to like dive into the whole system, but I know a lot of people do like to, if they're going to start with a different type of marker, a lot of times they want to buy up a bunch. So I really want to make sure I'm catching anything that might be a little bit weird or off, or you know, and you just got to use stuff for a while. So when it's like a higher end thing, I do tend to spend a little more time on preparing the review. Not that like an Olo marker costs less than a Copic marker, but but when you're thinking about buying maybe like 20, 30, 40, 50 of those markers, the price adds up. So I just want to make sure that I catch anything that may be a problem for people, so they could think about it, think about all these different aspects before they buy them. But I do try to do a pretty comprehensive review on no matter what it is, regardless of the price. But if it is a more expensive one, I really want to make sure that I'm catching anything that might be a pain point for somebody. Well, something else. So I put my markers in there a couple weeks ago, and now I don't think anyone copied my idea because it's definitely, I'm sure I'm not the only person to think of it, and production of things take time. But then what was really funny was that Lightwish, or Miliang, Paul Rubens, sent me this. It's basically a clipboard, like a nurse's clipboard, that has layers in it. So the top layer, you can put your finished paintings in. I just have my swatches in there from this set, from the review from that. Oh, something else! Okay, something else about this. This video is coming up in a couple, like in October, so it's not even coming up right away, but you might see this again. You might see this and be like, oh, I wonder, is that something I want? I did the painting, this painting on the paper that's included in here. So this is it comes with a clipboard with two layers. You got the top layer with where you can put like paper or pen. You could do colored pencils. Colored pencils will fit, but that's about the depth of it, is like a color pencil, like a 1/4 of an inch. It comes with like 20 sheets of cotton watercolor paper that are 7.5 by 7.5, and then it comes with the Miliang watercolors, which we all know and love, as that's my budget watercolor pick, but it's in a standard 48 color tin. It's got the Miliang sticker on it, and you know, the tray. So it's got the 36 standard colors and the 12 metallic colors, which actually I was holding them up to my Paul Rubens metallics, which are my favorite metallics, and they were holding up pretty well. Like they looked very similar to the Paul Rubens one, so they may be the same. I'm not sure, but I was quite impressed. I expected them to be kind of like powdery or chalky, you know how a lot of the budget metallic watercolors are, but they were great. So anyway, but what I noticed with these Miliang paints, and if I've been using the Miliang paints since 2017, I bought a set because the tin, let me tell you, the tin was cute. I bought a set. And then I reviewed that. I'm like, oh my word, these are awesome. And then they saw my review, and since then they've sent they've sent new releases to me for review, and I've also bought more sets over the years for classes and whatnot. But what I noticed with this set was that, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 of the colors in here are extruded pans and not liquid poured pans like they've always been. So I did compare, I did swatch the new ones are here in this column. This column is the new, and those are the older ones. I did swatch them side by side. The quality seems to be the same. I asked my rep, how come we've got some extruded pans and some liquid poured pans? Are they changing the manufacturing? And to her knowledge, there was no change in manufacturing. It was the same paint. It does seem to swatch out the same, but definitely I can see that some of these pans, I don't know if it will show up on camera at this angle, but some of these pans are extruded, which I prefer extruded pan because I feel like they last longer, but I don't know if they're all going to be going that way. I kind of hope so. I'll have to buy a set in like a year and see if they're all extruded pans or not, but I think that's great. I really like these paints. They're great for students. They're great for beginners. And what makes a paint good for beginners is that it's affordable enough that you're not worried about wasting. And using the paint, it behaves like a professional watercolor. Like, it's transparent, it mixes well, it's nice and clean, it's not chalky, you don't get a lot of sediment in it. But the thing that is the most important quality when I'm recommending a budget paint for somebody learning watercolor, who wants to learn watercolor and get good at watercolor, is that using that paint does not hinder you in your learning, and using that paint does not hinder you in your learning. So that's why that's my top pick for budget paints. If you just want the paint, I would say get the 36 set unless you really want metallics, because that's such a great, it's so well thought out. And you can get the 36 set for around 20 bucks on Amazon, sometimes cheaper. Sometimes, I mean, I bought them before. They had last Christmas time, around Christmas time, they had it was buy one get one free, and the set was on sale for $14, and it had like it came with a pencil and a little pad of cotton watercolor paper. And I snagged that right up. So they were like $7.50 each. I'm like, that goes in the class stash. And if those were around when I first bought my teaching kit, I probably would have bought those. But I ended up getting the Daler Rowney Aquafine tins of 24 because Jerry's Artorama had them up for 10 bucks on clearance or overstock or something, and I snagged up 20 of those sets. So that's what I typically teach with. But I refill them with whatever decent student grade paint I have to keep like costs down, so I can offer classes at the library and whatnot. But and there's a lot of good brands out there, but I just thought that I really liked that. It's very comfortable to sit on your lap. I'm all about sitting on the couch and painting, apparently. So I thought that was neat. It comes in gray as well. I will link to that. I won't have a review out for a couple of weeks, but I do like it. I give it my seal of approval if that's something that you're interested in. And this, I have no idea about this. This is just, I didn't even know this was coming. This showed up in the mail yesterday. It's a swatch book, and it looks really familiar. I feel like I've seen this at Jerry's Artorama. It's cotton paper. And yeah, it looks good. I don't know, I haven't used it. I don't know. I don't know, because I do my swatches. I've always done my swatches on cellulose paper, or like 25% cotton, 75% wood pulp paper, because I find that on a cellulose paper, or a mostly cellulose paper, I can see the flaws in a paint really well. So if I swatch that paint out on arches, well, it's arches. Everything looks great on arches. You know, it will hide a multitude of sins. But if I swatch out on Fabriano Studio or Be Inspired paper, any of the good quality wood pulp paper, I'm not talking about junk, but good quality wood pulp paper, I can see if there's sediment. I can see if there's filler. I can see the flaws a lot better, and you know, it just helps me in my evaluation of the paint. And then I'll do a painting on usually cotton paper, something nicer. But to get those first swatches, I want to see what the flaws are. I want to have my eyes open when I go into the painting. And I don't think a swatch will tell everything either. I think you need to actually use a product before you can say it's good or bad. And I used those watercolors on that piece, so they're so vibrant. They're such a great starter set. And they don't hinder me. I can use them, and I don't feel like, oh, I've got to compensate for these paints. I don't feel like that at all. Now, you're not going to get the flashy like granulation or special effects that you might get from, you know, super granulating sets or some other sets that are using more expensive, unique pigments that give you those different effects, like the Daniel Smith Permatex or the Schminke super granulating colors. But it is a good basic set. Oh my gosh. So we went out to celebrate the girl's birthday the other night, and we had gone to it was so busy. It was a Wednesday night. I could not believe how busy downtown Bangor was. And we went to Patty Murphy's, and that place was packed. It was so packed. My husband and I got there early so we could get a table for 6, and we still had quite a wait. And we ate, and then it was pub trivia night, and I've never played pub trivia before, so we decided we'd hang out and we'd play trivia, and like the first round was all questions about the show The Bachelorette, and it's like, I've never seen an episode of that show. We're just guessing names, and like, there's gotta be a Jennifer, there's gotta be a Christy. We're just like guessing names. And we got some points. That was the crazy thing. We actually got some points. But then the other rounds got a little bit better. It was funny. So we'd never done that before, and that was a lot of fun. And we called our trivia name, our group name, we called ourselves Infinite Cookies. And the reason that we came up with that name is because I found out this week that if you take a number and you divide it by 0, the answer is infinity. And I said, how can that be? If I had 1 cookie and I divided it by 0, I have infinite cookies? No, that's not how that works. But then I was trying to I was talking to the kids because they all went to college, or they're all in college. So smarty farties there. And they're trying to explain it to me. I'm like, and so we had to come up with a name for our pub trivia team. So I'm like, Infinite Cookies. And so that's what we went with. But yeah, nobody could explain how that is. How can you have something and divide it by 0 and have an infinite amount of things? I don't know. Any mathy people out there want to explain that to me? It makes no sense. Oh my goodness. Oh, and the book, Girl on the Train, was so good. Several of you recommended that book to me a couple weeks ago, and I was asking for book recommendations. I actually read it in a couple of days. I forgot to mention it last weekend during Sat Chat. So good. I highly recommend it. I'm not going to say a thing about that book because I don't want to spoil anything, but I read it. I'm like, it was so good. And then my daughter Maisie took it to read. I got to renew that, by the way. I got a memo to self, renew that book, but it was so good, and great recommendation. Thank you so much. I think I have some sewing projects coming up, some card making projects coming up, some painting projects coming up. I hope you tune into the channel and see all the fun, crafty goodness I have in store for you in the next couple of weeks. Not to mention reviews. We got reviews everywhere. Stinking the place up with the reviews. Thanks so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up before you go. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.